Hey, what's up? This is Brandon Simmons for BrandonSimmons.biz. This is my weekly video blog called Bullheaded, a review of the Houston Texans news, as well as a preview of the upcoming game matchups. So, this week, fresh off of celebrating their victory over the Tennessee Titans, the Texans have to stay on the road and visit the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to try and clinch the AFC South division. But before we get into all that or what they have to do this weekend, let's do a quick recap of, what kind of went down last weekend. So, first and foremost, great, crucial road win by the Texans. Couldn't have came at a better time. They were coming off that Broncos loss, and, I was pretty ill about that one. But, they, what I'm saying? They got it done. They sucked it up. They got it done last weekend. So, kudos to them on getting that crucial win. One of the big things that stood out to me, one of the few big things that stood out to me, the receivers. They made huge plays all across the board. Hopkins, he went 6 for 119. Fuller, he went 5 for 61. And Stills, he had the only 2 touchdowns of the game. So they all contributed in each of their own little fashion, per se. Particularly Hopkins and Fuller, they were able to make some key catches that converted first downs. I think Fuller had one catch that went for 32 yards, where he just blew past the defender. So definitely big ups to all 3 of those guys, just for holding it down with their receiving corps. And last thing I gotta do is I just really got to give it up for my defense. Look, I know so far, for most of the season, they've done some things where we've kind of rolled our eyes at them. But when it mattered most, and that's really, a lot of times in sports, sometimes you might not have the best defense on the field, but you have a defense you have a unit that makes plays when it matters the most. In this particular case, they made plays when it mattered most. They were able to get the interception thanks to Justin Reed's hit and Whitney Merciless scramble skills. They were able to get that interception as the Titans were knocking on the goal line. They were able to, get pressure on Tannehill for most of the game, but they really didn't get a sack till late in the game, which made them punt the ball away or whatever. And so defense, they just had key moments throughout the game, and kudos to them. They I don't really throw out enough credit to them, but I definitely want to give them their flowers for those particular moments, for those particular plays. One more thing, too. Pro Bowl rosters were announced. So, Deshaun Watson, Larry Tunsil, DeAndre Hopkins, all named to the Pro Bowl. Congratulations, guys. Great seasons, particularly with Hopkins. He's leading the AFC in receptions and yards. Watson has been, balling out on his own. Tunsil, he's been, doing well. He's definitely brought some improvement to this offensive line, especially on that left-hand side. I saw that stat that he leads the league in false starts and by a mile. So hopefully that he gets those reduced in these last 2 games of the season, and we'll just move on from there. Also, big ups to Whitney Merciless, DJ Reader, John Weeks, Nick Martin, Zach Cunningham. All these guys were named as alternates to the Pro Bowl. So big ups to those guys. They were definitely another huge part for the success that the Texans is experiencing right now. So congrats to all those guys for making it, man. Hopefully, there'll be many more in the future, and hopefully that'll boost your confidence up to take this into the postseason. All right, so speaking of this week, postseason actually, this weekend, Texans have a big game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, why is it a big game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who's already out of the playoffs? Pretty much, if the Texans get a W this weekend, they clinch the AFC South, straight up. Then it's best that they get it done this Saturday as opposed to either losing and just trying to make it some big time matchup next Sunday, which they don't need to do. Just win this weekend. Try to rest some of your starters or whatever. And I'll talk about that, assuming that they win and, get to that point. But they have, if they even want to get to that point or had that conversation, the first thing they'll have to do is get a win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And like I said, Tampa Bay, they out of the playoffs, but they've been kind of playing a little bit crazy out their minds lately. They're on a 4-game win streak right now. And, Jameis Winston, he's been playing kind of all right, not too shabby or whatever. But, they've been, kind of knocked out of the playoffs for like the last couple of weeks. And so right now they're just knocking teams out. And seeing what they have in store. So definitely Texans are coming in and they need to learn their lesson from the Broncos, obviously. But they also need to do these 3 things to win the game. So first thing they need to do, bring out the bad Jameis Winston. So when I say the bad Jameis Winston, people have kind of been comparing him to like a modern day Brett Favre, where he's like leading all the passing records, including interceptions. Like right now this season, right now at this moment, he leads the league in passing yards and also in interceptions. So, he's kind of wily with the football, you know what I'm saying? So he'll slang it, but also, he'll, try to make plays or whatever, obviously, if he's, leading in passing yards. So what the Texans need to do is try to get pressure on him, force him to throw more interceptions than passing yards, obviously. But also just try to get to him, force him to make all types of errors, interceptions, fumbles, all that good stuff. They did pretty good against Tannehill on Sunday. And, they eventually got a sack or whatever. But I would say definitely continue that. Whatever they did as far as like whatever, packages or blitzes they orchestrated with that, just continue those ways to get pressure on Winston and force him to make those mistakes. He's also like the 3rd most sacked quarterback in the league right now. And, don't get it twisted. Sean's not too far behind him or whatnot. But definitely get that pressure on them and force them to make those errors. Number 2, disrupt their rhythm and just try to prevent them from going into shootout time. So we talked about Winston leading the league in passing yards, obviously. So yeah, Tampa Bay is first in that division or first in that category, but they're also 30th in passing yards allowed. So, as quick as they like to, give them to you, they also give them up pretty quick. So definitely, that's the recipe for a shootout. And like I said, Tampa Bay, they don't care right now. They're, they're probably trying to see like what they have in Winston. And so, a shootout is a perfect time for him to like just kind of show that, hey, I can throw, a lot more of these and, kind of cut down on my interceptions and all this other stuff. So what we want to do is we want to definitely disrupt their rhythm. And, last game, Carlos Hyde had 104 yards rushing. Definitely put him back out there again with running the ball. Let's find a, little sweet spot for him to get that in. But also, if we don't kind of control the clock with running the ball, we can definitely control it with throwing. As I mentioned about Hopkins and Fuller, some of their catches, they weren't really like, it's not all the catches were like just deep catches. Some of them were like a couple 10 yards. I know Fuller, he had one where he caught it for like he caught it at 5 yards, but he ran like an additional like 5 to 7 yards, to get the first down. So catches like that, where they can kind of just, get the first down, move the chains or whatever, but also kind of keep the clock going and just keep the Tampa Bay offense off the field, because it's a very explosive offense, obviously. They once scored 55 points on the Los Angeles Rams earlier this season. But in that same game, they also gave up 40. So that's the type of team we're dealing with. So it's best that we get the team that's going to give up 40. go against the team that gives up 40, and just keep the team on the sideline that gave up that 55. Just keep them on the sideline and leave them as rusty as possible. Number 3, or the last thing Texans need to do, is just compete. There's no other way around it. They have to, if they want to get this win, they have to get this win. I think it's very crucial that they get this win and get this win this Saturday, and just kind of cool it a little on the last week of the season, because there's going to be some tough teams that they're going to face. They're going to be in the wild card, and there's going to be some crucial competition there. Like, I was watching the Bills and Steelers game the other night. Yo, both of those defenses, deadly. And both of those defenses are supposed to be showing up in the postseason as the 5th and 6th seed. So, definitely Texans need to get this win this weekend, but they have to do it by competing. They have to really want this W. Like I said, man, they went into the Broncos game just kind of not taking them as serious. And the Broncos are basically out of the playoffs. Same situation here. They just got to learn their lesson from that, and just come into Tampa Bay, attack Tampa Bay, smack them around, get this W and get this division. So we can kind of have a little bit of an easy time heading into the playoffs. But they just have to. If they listen, they just have to compete. Disrupting the Tampa Bay offense is good and all. Bringing out the error-prone Jameis Winston is good, but it's all going to really start with them competing. If they can compete, and then if they can compete and just act like the dominant team, as I talked about last week, play above their competition, they'll be perfectly fine in this game, and we'll be looking at AFC South champs again. So if they do those 3 things, bring out the bad Jameis Winston, disrupt the Tampa Bay offense by controlling the clock and moving the chains, and just basically competing in this game, they should definitely win this game, get the division, and kind of coast a little bit in week 17. So that's all I got for y'all this week. I'm Brandon Simmons for BrandonSimmons.biz. Holla black.